What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Apologies on the hiatus of not putting out any content. It has been a challenging couple of weeks, to say the least, with technical problems and scheduling stuff between me and Jordan. But we're finally back, thank God, and talking about Stadia and all the things we really think that are good and or bad, and in between. And as always, joining me is Jordan. What's happening, Jordan?
Hello. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been like a solid month, I think, like 4 weeks since we last talked. So, yeah.
Yep.
It's been a roller coaster, I think, trying to catch up with Stadia and try out its features and talk about like what's going on, and because so much is happening in such a small space of time. Like 4 weeks seems like it's a month in general seems like it's not a long time, but since every day different things are rolling out or different things are breaking or no working, Stadia's it's been, I don't know, I'm trying to find the words, but it's really difficult to talk about.
It's an up and down process. It seems to be like there's some things people are like, oh, that's cool, yay, and then there's other things that are just putting it right down, and people seem to be focusing too much on the negative, in my opinion. But I totally get why.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing I will definitely say is that, and this is an unbiased opinion of Stadia, and we have a channel that is dedicated to Stadia, and we talk about things related to Stadia. But I definitely feel what people have said about it. There's one thing that people have said about it consistently that I feel is actually quite accurate, and that is it's no finished. I feel like a lot of people have said that Google rushed to the market to try and catch up with xCloud and all the other services that were launching alongside it to try and get some market share as quick as they could, especially before like financial year end, which I think has moved now and I think is closer towards January. So
has it?
I think so. I think that the tax years are moving. But anyway, but aside for that, I think it's very similar to when the Switch launched in 2017, and it launched with like one game, which was Zelda. For like 8 months, there was no huge playable content on it. There was nothing massive coming to the console, and there was a load of features that were like never really implemented. The fact that it didn't even have an online service until I think the end of the year, closer towards 2018. So, but they needed to get that out before. Well, they need to get it out with Zelda, because the new Zelda would sell the console, but also the fact that just a load of stuff was missing from it. I think people put up with it because they didn't have like a lot of huge expectations for Switch. They were kind of like, oh, it's another Nintendo console, it'll probably be cool, I'll probably buy it. But then Stadia, I think, is a similar casualty to that, in that Google has rushed this out as quick as they could to try and get people talking about it, and maybe even try and cash in on the whole holiday Christmas experience where people would buy this as a gift.
I think they should have definitely pushed that one more.
Yeah, I think I know they've had advertising recently. I mind watching the Game Awards, and there was a couple of adverts for Stadia. But I still don't feel like... I feel like one of their biggest weaknesses at the moment, especially, is their marketing. It's just so stale, and there's no information coming out about it, and people are very slow to respond online about things that are going on, or people having technical problems. There's just like so much that they could be doing better. I mean, I think it was recently somebody pointed out to me that Stadia had put a job listing for a communications officer for the company. So like that's probably one position they just haven't filled yet, and it's very evident because their social media stance at the now is pretty basic.
We're out of touch. We need a professional.
Yeah, they kind of do. They do need somebody who's going to be able to handle the PR, because it's like when, the last time Xbox launched their Xbox One and they had their previous president, or kind of head of Worldwide Studios, and then he left and Phil Spencer came in, and the image he's portrayed and the PR he's done for that company in the last 2 years has been like the best first aid in the world.
Of course,
I mean, like,
Phil.
Yeah, like he was a gamer. He run game studios. He knew more about the business than most guys who were just businessmen. So he implemented backwards compatibility, Game Pass, a lot of other things. The whole game system now, where you can like buy an Xbox for like £20 a month, and you get Buddy Pass included in it. And then when the new Xbox comes out, you get a free upgrade and everything. Like that's all his team's doing. So like that's kind of what Stadia needs at this point. I know they have Phil at the moment, who is, or their version of Phil, sorry, who is running, Stadia, but yeah, the whole front facing experience has been really lackluster, and I feel like they're missing out on a huge opportunity to just get people known about Stadia. I think the best thing they've done was getting a lot of influencers involved on YouTube and sending out free review copies to people to review, which was also a double edged sword because
Mm-hmm.
none of those guys pre-ordered. None of those guys were like paying for
It's not
that
going to
day
be a
one.
biased thought.
Yeah,
It's going
but
to
then
be
yeah, but they were sent out to those guys for free. But then the people who actually pre-ordered it on day one were missing codes for like 3 days.
yeah. That's kind of shady.
Yeah, that was really shitty. I mean, I definitely, especially me. I mean, I wasn't too bothered because I didn't pre-order mine till I think like September, and so I was like, I'm kind of last on the queue. And I managed to get my code, I think, about 4 days after it launched.
That was
Maybe three,
all right. I thought it was like a week. I don't know.
something like that. I can't remember. I don't think it was long. I think it was an actual week, but yeah, I did wait a couple of days. I think it was more. Uh, I say more worse. That's not a word. It was worse because I got my Stadia hardware delivered to me day one, and it was there like on the 19th. But then effectively, it was just a really expensive paperweight for a couple of days because I couldn't use it. So and the fact that like you can only buy games on the store on the app on your phone. There's no online store just now. There's not even really a proper user interface on the web browser. The fact that the web browser doesn't play 4K 60 FPS 5.1, like that's something that isn't part of the ecosystem at the moment. Like you can only get that experience on the Chromecast, which is I suppose understandable because that's where they want people to play the games most. But I do know a lot of people, like a lot of people, who are playing it in their browser, either on the computer at work or a laptop they have lying about. So I was that was one thing I was like pissed at. What's the one thing I was like, what the fuck? Because as part as a pro subscriber, I thought I was going to get the 4K experience on my web browser. Turns out it wasn't. So yeah, there's a lot of inconsistencies in the marketing that we're promising a lot of features and games, and then like even before the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to cover a lot of things. I'm glad we've got an hour because we haven't talked about the Stadia experience since it launched. Even stuff we were talking about pre-launch, where they had 12 games originally. Then, like at the 11th hour before it launched, they doubled it to 22, and now just only recently, like today, they have just launched the last of the games they promised for 2019, like Ghost Recon
Yeah,
and
for 2
Borderlands
months.
3. And Borderlands 3 is update wise. Yeah, well, Borderlands is the Gearbox have said that the patch version is dating back to October for the Stadia version, so it's not the most up to date for bug fixes, and also
That's
people have
mental.
reported that it's running at 30 FPS, not 60. So yeah, it was the same with Red Dead. People found out when Red Dead launched, and I've been playing it online. It's very hard to notice on the TV because it does look pretty good, but people have said it is running at 1080p or maybe even 1440p, but definitely not 4K. The same with Destiny 2, which was like their flagship title. That is, I think, confirmed it's 1080 and
Oh no,
it's
I've experienced.
I
No, I've
think it's even
definitely
60
experienced some
FPS. It
60
might be
FPS in
60
that game.
FPS. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, definitely not.
but again, not what was promised for um, the majority of people that were expecting it to be. And then we had some real problems. Like
We
I think
played.
because we
Yeah, we
played it.
played
Was it like the first
when we
weekend? I think
actually
that
got
we got the
time.
code.
We played Destiny 2. We thought we'll try to give it a go. Um, we'll do a raid or something, or
Mhm.
a strike or something, a nightfall strike. Is that what they're called? Done something like that, and then
Yeah, we done
it
something
was
like that.
fun.
Yeah.
It was working, but then sometimes on my end, not necessarily Gordon's end, my end, it was just messing up. It wasn't really going consistently, and I don't know if that it's very, very, very possible it's because of my connection. But I do get 200 meg regularly,
Yeah,
and it's just convenient that it's every time I'm playing that
yeah,
game, I'm getting like drop dead nothing. Because when I'm not playing Stadia, it goes back up to about 150, 200 meg. So it's just strange. I don't know.
I found in my office is because I mean at the moment, um, I'm running most of my game stuff out in my office because that's where I do most of my work day to day. Um, but my connection should be about 100 meg, and I think on an average I get about maybe 80, 85 meg. Um, but then when I go in the web browser version of Chrome or the Chrome version, sorry, of Stadia, my connection status is always shown as good, and I know if it shows excellent, that means you're getting 4K. So I would get that with my Chromecast in the house, but then the Chrome browser is always consistently at a good quality, which is really interesting because then I'll test the connection. It'll be like, maybe even the lower end, it's like 60 to 65 megabytes. But of course, we were told for 4K, all you needed was 35.
Yeah,
And it seems like that's also not true as well. Like that's something that's not. And then it also varies from game to game. Like I'll
yeah.
play Mortal Kombat and I'm like, wow,
See,
this looks really impressive.
and
And
that's the
then I
thing,
switch
because
to
I had the exact same experience
Destiny
with
and I'm
Tomb
like, oh,
Raider.
this
I
looks a wee
thought,
bit shitter.
I was playing the definitive version of the first Tomb Raider remake, and it's ran really well, and I was getting good, 60 frames. If
Mm-hmm.
everything was fine, and we were going along great. So I don't know if it's maybe just because it's a high intensity multiplayer game that's
Mm-hmm.
causing it, but I don't know. The single player games apparently seem to be decent enough.
Yeah. The single player
Yeah.
stuff is like, because we even that night, like, we were
Ah,
having
I was
real
losing my
trouble
nut.
with Destiny. So, like, we tried to record a video, but Jordan was just having, like, such a hard time.
I
He
couldn't
was, like,
keep my
losing
cool.
his mind because it was just dropping out all the time. And we kept losing this one fight. Um, so I was like,
Oh,
ah,
that
fuck it,
was
we'll no
fun.
bother. But
That
then,
was fun.
we
Yeah.
played Samurai Showdown, and that was pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were, like, giggling and
It's a
laughing like
cool
we were,
game.
like, beating the shit out of each other, and our guys were doing these crazy
Mhm.
moves. But, like, the graphic wise, I mean, it was pretty on par. Like it didn't look like it actually looked 4K. So I was really confused. I was like, why is it that like one thing is good and I'm maybe thinking that it's again I'm kind of involved in the industry because I'm still beginning, but I'm still involved in the industry because I know people who work for these companies. But I know great, but a lot of these studios who will work on stuff for like PS5, like and Xbox, the new Xbox like Series X, I know these guys have had these dev kits for a long time, like a long time building this stuff. And Sony were very
Mhm.
early on saying to people like, "Look, this is the future tech. You need to be building stuff for it now." Um, but as far as I was told with Google Stadia, a lot of the guys were only getting the ability to port stuff like maybe 6 months ago. Like they weren't getting a lot of time to optimize stuff for Stadia. In fact, I know if you look in the Tomb Raider games, there's a separate section that says Stadia credits, and they must have put together small teams in the company to just work on that version that was
Mhm.
launched on Stadia. So that's probably why the Tomb Raider games
See,
look
but
so
then
good because they had an actual dedicated team porting
right.
it to
So that makes me
Stadia.
think if they're going to do it that way, unless they're willing to expand, obviously. So it's going to be
Hmm.
a few games at a time here and there, a
Yeah.
game here, a game there, or a few games at a time. Because they're obviously, like you're
Hmm.
saying, if that is the case, they're going to need to be
Hmm.
working on those games.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's like another arm of the company that will need to port stuff to, because the porting of stuff to Stadia is, as far as I know, Linux based, so it's not even Windows based. So running games on Linux has never been the easiest thing to do. I mean, Steam have tackled it in a sense where they do have a launcher for Linux. They even have their own OS, so they've done a lot in the terms of gaming and moving stuff to that platform. But then Stadia is such a new thing. I think it's definitely giving people headaches, and it's definitely like
Well, that's what they
an
claimed, is it
ongoing
was it
working
not in their
process that will probably
press
never
conference?
end. Um, yeah, which is what my original point was. Like, it's no finish. Like this does feel more like a beta, and I feel like that's fine. But Stadia definitely, to the wider audience, to everybody else in the world, should definitely have said like, look, this isn't a finished product. It's not going to be finished till February next year. This is a beta. If you want to get in the front door
Well, I
and
mean,
play it before everybody
that's what
else,
the
here's
Verge
your
have
here's
said.
your chance. You
That's
can
what the
buy
Verge has
the
said
the,
literally
the
22
founders
hours
pack.
ago. Put up
But It's no finished.
An article just literally saying that Google Stadia should have stayed
Yeah.
in beta, and I totally agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. They need to make it very clear that this is not a finished product. They don't. They
Mm-hmm.
pretty much think it's a finished product.
Mm.
I don't think that's right. Or an ongoing product, as they would probably say.
Yeah.
Oh, did I? Oh man. What have we
Yeah.
missed?
You want to say that?
Am I back? Is this okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you want to say that again,
Um,
Jordan? Because you cut out
I'm here. I'm
heavily there,
alive.
so I couldn't
Although,
hear anything you said.
um,
Yeah. So
yeah,
you're
no,
back.
it was. I agree with the Verge. I think it should have stayed in beta
Yeah, you're back.
because there's
You're
so
back.
much
You're here. You're
still to
alive. You're
work
alive.
out. There's so much wrinkles to iron
Yeah, you
out
were
still,
saying
and
you were saying about the beta.
it's.
Yeah.
I don't think they should call it, a launch. I know that they're obviously waiting until the mid 2022,
Yeah.
2020, sorry, to release the standard, the free version. But I mean, surely right now for the people who are actually paying you money,
Yeah.
at least call it a beta.
Mm. 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 I know. As far as I know, this was a. Yeah, I feel like this has been a proving ground
Those
for the
charging
free
people make
release. Like
sense
they were
in
trying to
that
get
case.
a small, focused, tested group together to work on the initial intro to the Stadia universe, and then when this, yeah, and then when it launches, I think that's when they're going to really have like the stress test, because if this is free and available to everyone on the planet, then
Oh god.
good God. I mean, like, they've struggled enough, I think, just now with, like, a couple of thousand people. I can't even imagine what it's going to be like when everybody on the planet can access this technology. Which is, I think, the biggest appeal of the service, because I definitely know people have compared it to xCloud and other services. But then when the base version will be free, I think that's something that a
Xbox.
lot of
It's
people are
actually not
overlooking,
called a one or
because,
anything. It's just
I
called
think also the
Xbox.
timing for it's been really difficult, because you have PS5 and Xbox One X series or whatever it is coming out next year.
Oh
X,
god. That's another
yes,
podcast.
Xbox Series X is the official name, but then I don't know where that's going to be the worst name ever. I can't understand why they've done that. Anyway, yeah, it's like the leg of a table. So anyway, so
Oh my god.
I saw someone the day they put on Facebook, and it was like the true purpose of the new Xbox, and it was like literally holding a glass circular table above it that had a PlayStation on top of it. So I was like, that's interesting. But yeah, like if
Mm,
this had launched closer towards the new console generation, then you would have had people looking at like, well, I can invest
mhm.
£500 or $500 in a PS5 or an Xbox
Yeah.
Series X, or I can use this totally free service from Google that will let me play the newest games for free. Technically, I mean, you have to pay for the game, but then the actual hardware, the service, is free. So yeah, like that would have definitely been, I
Yeah.
think, more
I can see
appealing.
that, but I can also
That would
see
have been
why they
something
released
people would
it.
have give
Still
serious
thinking
pause
about
to.
that, I can see why they
Had
released
it
it when
launched
they did as well.
November
Just
19th,
just have that
2020,
sort of
then
year
people
of,
would have been like,
right,
ah,
what are
right,
the
this makes
issues?
a
What
bit
are
more
people
sense.
saying? Let's get them sorted. And that's what I'm hoping is happening behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's Google. I'm assuming it is, but
Mm.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Early access is a
I mean,
thing. Just call it. Just call it as is.
yeah, I'm totally for that, but like I says, I think they should have been definitely more transparent to people and saying like, look, this is a beta, this isn't a full release, this isn't a full service, it's going to be missing a lot of features, stuff's going to be,
Mhm.
yeah. Like, I mean, the fact that, like I said, there's no real UI, the store's kind of still all over the place. I mean,
What?
the fact that, like the Chrome browser doesn't have
You have
4K
to wait
and
for an
the Chromecast
update
are
on
overheating,
Stadia.
and, there's like,
I didn't think that would be
I
a
was
thing.
playing NBA 2K and there was an update in it. I was actually having to wait for an update, which absolutely blew my fucking mind. That was the weirdest thing. Yeah, like literally I opened NBA 2K and it was like, please wait while we update the game. And I was like, are you fucking jesting me? Jesus Christ. And then on top of that, like people have reported that Final Fantasy 15 has had like a load of issues where it's corrupting save files. So people were playing like maybe 20 hours the first couple of days, like playing Final Fantasy on Stadia. And then, because that's quite an intensive Final Fantasy game, like even on the PC version, like you need quite a beefy PC to get the best of it, especially at 4K. And yeah, people were playing it the first couple of days, and then they were getting messages, and their files were corrupt, and they couldn't reclaim their progress. Basically, they were having to start again. I was like, "Well, that's really terrible."
Play the Benny Hill
And
theme
then
tune
they were
now.
doing this whole thing where like people were contacting like Stadia support, and then Stadia were like, "Oh, you need to go speak to Square Enix." And then the Square Enix team were like, "No, you need to go speak to Stadia." So it was like
Mhm.
a whole thing. They were just passing people off on each other.
You
So
say
I mean,
that,
like, it was just ridiculous. And
don't shit
then,
on
like,
Farming
because people were
Simulator.
having such major
We had
issues,
great fun.
you know, they
Don't
weren't
shit on
issuing
Farming
refunds,
Simulator.
and
We
then
had the
the
best
whole thing
fun.
of the free games came out
That
for
was
December, and it was
hilarious.
like, oh,
We
brilliant,
actually had
Farming
one of the most
Simulator, woohoo,
hilarious
and Tomb Raider. But
moments
a lot of
in
people
that
were
game.
like, yeah,
That was funny. That was so fun.
I know,
What
Farming,
what
it's
saved lives.
yeah, it is actually quite fun. Yeah, we've had a couple of laughs playing that. Yeah. I should have been recording that because it was just an absolute piss take. Like, it was so fun. But there was so many people initially had, because there wasn't a lot of games. They had bought Farming Simulator and they had bought Tomb Raider. So when they announced the games like 3 weeks later, everybody was like, "What the fuck? I wouldn't have bought these games had I known I was getting them for free." Um, so there was that, like that, and then obviously now people are like, "Oh well, the December games will be coming soon. There's no point in buying anything else." Um, so it's just a load of wee things that they keep doing, and you're like, what are they thinking? What is actually going on behind? You know, like
Run!
it's like the Google headquarters are on fire, and like we just kind of see everybody running about screaming, but then at the front we're like, what's going on, man? Like my save file's corrupted. There's like 40,000 people in the back of Google, like fucking hell, Final Fantasy's no saving. Like it's like, what is actually happening? Like I don't know what is going on. So aye, it's that's why I'm saying it's very hard to put it into terms where you know that you can clearly
Yeah.
dictate like this is a good service, this is a bad service. I would recommend this
That's
service.
why
I
it
wouldn't.
used to be called a
There's
beta.
just like the pros and cons are like on an even scale, if it makes sense, right? Like the pros and the cons are so evenly balanced.
Mhm.
It's hard to really say one way or the
And
other
that's why I was
with what
getting
I
stuff
feel
with
about
Destiny
Stadia
for that
because
exact thing. We were in the middle of a fucking raid,
I
and
know for
we
so
were
many
in the most
issues I've had
intense
where I've
part of
had
the
really good
battle,
nights
and
about
it
playing
just goes
stuff. The other
disconnected.
flip
Your
side of that
connection
is I
isn't
have
strong
had
enough. I'm like, wait, what?
times where like the service hasn't worked or like cut me off mid thing or closed or broke or I might was playing. Yeah, yeah,
25
yeah. I mean,
apparently is
and that's what we
the
were saying. Like
go
we were
get you
getting told,
a decent.
you know, like 35 meg should be
Mhm.
all you need for the 4K
No, I
experience.
think
And because I'm getting the
I
1080
think that needs
experience
to be
on
something that's
the Chrome browser, I should
because
only need
it
what like
does
20 meg or
seem
something,
to be that you need
which I've
an
got
absolute
in
stable
abundance.
connection. It's not like
Well,
it's
yeah,
not
that's what I
really a
was
matter
saying,
of
and
how
it
much
still
download
was
speed you have, and I
artifacting
think
and
they
not
need to
working
make that
properly at
abundantly
points.
clear.
But
That
again, I
isn't
don't,
because people will be going out buying that 300 meg package or 500 meg package from Virgin and expect the gaming package and expect this will be the ideal thing for Stadia, but then like someone like me, 200 megabyte download speed on
mm,
with Virgin, and it's just dropping like when I'm trying to play Destiny. That shouldn't happen. So I think they need to make that clear. If that
mm,
is the case, that you need a stable connection over like a high download speed.
mm, 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 mm.
Mm.
Yeah, because I mean, people have definitely said that, oh, I've got 50, 60 meg, but then the dropout consistency has got to be something you've got to look at. Like, how often is that signal dropping? How often are you getting interference with that? How prioritized is your signal compared to everybody else in your street? Like this is why Virgin's huge
Mhm.
mega super bundle package thing is a thing they're marketing at gamers because they're trying to say like we're going to give you so much bandwidth,
Mhm.
it's going to be almost impossible for you to corrupt
I
it
mean,
so much that you can't get a stable connection.
aye. I
So
mean, when you're
because
at
not
the
even like
office and
when people talk about like
when we're at your
350
office,
meg or 300
and
megabyte download,
I'm
whatever
say
I've
me and
got,
you're playing like a game of Left 4
um,
Dead or something
that's great to
over the
start with. But
network, and then
then when
Diane will
my
come in
girlfriend
and
goes
it'll
on her phone
be
or her laptop and my dad's on his
she might
phone
watch
and then we're
something on
watching something
Netflix
on
as well as
Netflix
doing some
all at the
coding or
same
whatever.
time, that
So
bandwidth only goes so
it
many
all
directions.
adds up.
Mm. Yeah.
Still better than mine, apparently.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, yeah. I think especially because I've got office Wi-Fi and
Mhm. Video
networks that are built
conferencing.
around these types of offices typically are not consumer level fiber, so you're not getting like the best experience money can buy because they're just yeah, well they're just looking at it as a way that you just need this for email and maybe occasionally like voice calling or video conferencing, yeah. So for them, like having the super fast stuff that plays games is not a priority for them. So that makes it difficult. That makes it really hard to think about, well, what are we going to do when all these streaming services come online because that's not going to be part of their MO when they want to start, issuing fiber to people. But for people like me, where my office is like my kind of home away from home because I do so much work here, I watch movies here, I play games just in between all my work because it's easier to do it here than go home where like I've not really got a dedicated space to play games or do anything like that just now. So yeah, it's difficult. And then like I says, I think with Google it's been harder because everything's such early access. I think if you're coming into this next year, February, March, when the free service launches and they've maybe got most of the bugs and the kinks out, then sure, like Stadia will probably be fine. It will probably be a service that a lot of people can use and be quite happy
Is
with.
that not
Um,
But let's
but
make
in its
that
current
clear. Is
state,
that
it
not when you're
has
using the
a
controller?
lot of things going on that make the experience no 100%. The one thing I will say above and beyond everything else is the technology side of it. Like the response time is scarily good. Like even when it's lagging, I say lagging like the video.
Yeah, you were streaming Red Dead, were you not?
Well, that could be the case, but my experience so far, and this is just my experience, of using mouse and keyboard, and
It was super
because I
cheap.
done a stream. If people will look back on our streams, I think I streamed like the night of. I think it launched or the I think it was when I got
Mhm,
as soon as I got my code, I was streaming basically. I've done some Red Dead, but I think initially I played some Destiny and Tomb Raider. I think I bought Tomb Raider initially because it was like £8,
mhm,
so I was like fuck it. Um, but yeah, I was actually playing Tomb Raider with the controller, the Stadia controller, and it was fine. But then I was like, oh, I'm really curious. I wonder. So I just like touched my mouse and moved it, and it was so responsive. It was
mhm.
ridiculous. Like every time I just like slightly touched my mouse, like it turned. Um, and I
Yeah.
was really impressed. And I've played, Red Dead since then, and a couple other games
I think,
with multiple different controllers,
see,
including the
so on the
Stadia
topic
one.
of,
And honestly,
response times and stuff, because
um,
I
the
have had
technology
that as
side of
well.
it,
I've thought, oh, this
response
is,
wise, is
this is
very
really good,
impressive. And
especially
I
with
have
Tomb
heard that
Raider.
consistently through a
I
couple of
played it
people
with an
who reviewed
Xbox
it, saying
controller
that
plugged into my PC, and
it's no
it works
100% with
perfect,
connections
works
or
fine.
graphics or
Um,
whatever, but
on the
the
flip,
technology that makes it so
I'm going to say on
responsive
the flip,
is very impressive, and it's
when
something that
we
yeah,
were, and that's an excuse because you beat my ass, when we were playing that fighting game, I noticed there were some things that my character was doing, like jumping or something, that I'm not even pressing up or anything. Like it's like it's predicted what I was going to do,
yeah,
and it wasn't what I was going to do. So I
hmm
think, and I know that that is a part of the
hmm
software, and I know they're still working on it, so I can forgive them for that. It's fine. You guys are still working
yeah,
at the kinks on that one. Fair play. Um, but I
hmm
think, yeah, on my experience, there's been a few times where
hmm
I've maybe tried to do something like
hmm
Destiny or that fighting game, and
yeah,
it's done something, and it's not what I was going to do, or it's moved my character in a weird way, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you moving my character around? So I don't know. Like that could go down to my connection just dropping and being crap for a limited time, but um, I just thought I had to bring that up because there will be people with the same situation as me. They've not got a steady connection, and those kind of things will happen.
hmm
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
hmm hmm
Mhm. It varies.
yeah. I think the one thing we need to probably preface with this whole
Yeah.
conversation about Stadia post launch is that this is an online streaming service. Like any online streaming service, which includes stuff like YouTube or Netflix or HBO Go or whatever, um, the experience you will have will heavily rely on
Already a
your
lot of
internet
strain.
connection.
There's already a lot of strain
So
on your broadband.
yeah, definitely. So you'll find people have reviewed it and then been like, "This is dog shit. This doesn't work." And people who have reviewed it that are like, "This is the best fucking thing ever. I can't believe this technology's been behind closed doors for so long." So yeah, like there was that infamous video with the Washington Post where they had like tried to play it on a computer in their office, and an office environment for a gaming setup, even if it's like fiber, yeah, like even if it's a gigabit Ethernet, like
Yeah,
it still
absolutely.
is in a network setup that isn't recognized like a public domain. So yeah, like this service, if you have a really stable and solid and good connection, will probably be really good. But if your connection is sketchy and really shit at times that you can't even get on your phone, then sure, it's not going to be the best experience. You can't go into this thinking like, regardless of what your internet's like,
Like
it's going to work.
warm butter.
Yeah, you really have to think about how good is my connection? How often can I stream stuff and how fast can I,
I still need to come
for
over and
me
witness
at
this.
home, my connection is a lot different for the one in my office. So, sure, it's no great in my office, but then when I go home and play it my Chromecast, it's like night and day. On the 4K TV I have at home, it is like, you can tell it's 4K. You can tell it's pretty high def. It's, yeah, like it just works and it loads into the games within like 10 seconds, even less than that sometimes,
Points to the
and it
little
works
thing
and you can play
dongling
it.
out of the TV.
Yeah, like it's scarily how good it looks, for something that is streaming content to a computer, or from a computer, sorry, to my TV. Yeah, it works. Like I remember I was kind of playing it at one point, and Diane was like, "Oh, did you bring like an Xbox home? How are you playing this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the Stadia thing I told you about, the cloud service." And she's like, "Yeah." She was like, "Oh, where is it? I don't. Have you got
Mhm.
like a box?" And I was like, "No, it's a Chromecast in the back of my TV. This is getting streamed
Yeah.
to the TV." And she was like, "Streamed? I'm like, it's like watching a YouTube video that I can interact with." And she just couldn't fathom what was actually going on.
Well,
She was like, "How is this magic
I
possible?"
absolutely
But
agree with you. I think
yeah,
this is
when
going
you
to be the
look
future.
at
I mean,
like
even
how
Amazon's jumping on the
Stadia is set
bandwagon.
up, it is impressive
But
technology.
I do know that
But
there is
again, it's a
some
streaming service
companies,
in
some
an
network
era
companies that
where
are
not everybody
actually
has reliable
looking to
Wi-Fi.
change up their
So
service and offer
you've got to take everything with a pinch of
way
salt.
better
But
internet, like
I do
gig,
think
like
in the
1 gig,
future,
2 gig internet, that kind of
maybe even
thing,
5 years from now, I
downloads.
think it's definitely going to
And
be like the norm. I think it's going to be something we're going to be using more and more every day. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that was just announced recently. Fun fact by Boris Johnson. Woohoo!
yeah, for free.
That they're
Hmm.
accelerating their plans in the UK by 8 years, I think it was,
I
to
wonder if
bring gigabit
I wonder
Ethernet
if my monthly
to
payment will go down.
the UK. So currently, Virgin is testing the service in somewhere down south, I think near Birmingham, and a couple of different places have access to gigabit Ethernet just now. They're the official guinea pigs, and then as of next year, most Virgin customers who are on the 350 meg plan, I think, will be upgraded to the
I
gigabit
can
Ethernet.
imagine. I can imagine.
So that'll be interesting because that's going to be a definite awesome service.
Well, they said,
Yeah, they definitely adjust
I
as
know
the
that's
new
ridiculous.
services come out. Because when I was on the
That's
200
like,
meg
oh,
service, I
that's
think
a
a while
full
back, they just
movie
sent me a
you've
thing
just downloaded
saying,
within 10
"Do you want
seconds.
to upgrade to the 350 meg or the 300 meg
Few
service?" And I was
seconds.
like,
There you go.
"Yeah,
You can
cool.
start
That'll be
watching
better. That'll probably be more reliable."
Mandalorian full season.
But the gigabit Ethernet service, I think, is going to be quite competitively priced. I think it's going to be about $60 a month. Um,
That's
yeah,
tons.
which I think for
Ridiculous.
gigabit
It's 9
Ethernet,
times more than
that's
what I
probably
usually
worth it
get.
because then you're talking about you can download a gig a second. That's like that's that's crazy fast.
It's
So
crazy, man.
yeah,
It's crazy.
a full Blu-ray downloaded in like
Well, I know
10
Sky's
seconds.
doing
So
tests now as well. I know they're
yeah,
upping their internet.
you're like, holy. I mean, like worst case scenario. I mean, you're talking like maybe like 800, 900 meg per second, but still, that's like
Mhm.
that's faster than you can. That's like that's
It's,
like faster
yeah,
than you can transfer
BTT
some data
Mobile,
over
those
USB. I mean, like we're
I think
talking about like crazy speeds, crazy speeds. So crazy. So yeah, like that's going to be the norm as of next year. Yeah, but then it's like when you talk about cell phone towers in this country where, you've got like three and all these different manufacturers. There's only one company usually that owns the cell phone towers. A lot of them are BT. So
Just
yeah,
need
so
strong,
so a lot of those
stable, as
guys
my
who
girl
piggyback
Teresa
off those
May
cell
says.
towers are paying
Strong and
money
stable
to the people
connection.
who own the cell towers, and it's the same with uh like like people who've got like fiber broadband like BT and stuff. They have an infrastructure set up, but the majority of the fiber network in the UK is owned and operated by Virgin. So if you're a Virgin customer, you probably will get the best experience you possibly can get. Also, they have the bandwidth, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely there's definitely people in the UK that can offer services that are of the same kind of caliber, but then getting to a point where it's going to be like the
Yeah.
gigabit Ethernet stuff is
So,
not going to be something
like,
everybody can offer straight
so
away. Like
relating this to
Virgin will have
Stadia,
it
I think it's
first;
going to be
they will have the best
in
use of
the
it, and
years
then
coming,
everybody will get
especially in
that
the next
trickle
two
down to
years. I
them
think it's going to be a
eventually.
massive
But then
difference. I think
for
we're
me
going to see
BT,
much
I
better
wouldn't
service.
I wouldn't pin
I'm
my hopes in
hoping
seeing
more
gigabit Ethernet
transparency,
for
as
at
you've
least
said,
another maybe few years,
because I mean
because
it's
Virgin
just
will definitely
ridiculous.
be
There's so
like
much
at the
that
front of
we're
that
still kind of
um,
not sure about,
investment,
and they need
and
to come out and say,
they'll be making sure that their customers
this
and
is
their
why.
customers
Say it's a
only get
beta.
access to
Just
that
say it's a
first.
beta. It's an early access
So
service. Just say it's in beta, and we're testing it.
mhm, mhm.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just even if they were, like you said, yeah, just
Because
even
it's
if
an
you
old
said like they were
game,
more
but it
transparent in
makes
the fact
sense.
that even like the Final Fantasy stuff, they were like, hey guys, just letting you know we're having real issues with Square Enix. If anybody's really wanting, or if anybody's having a lot of issues and they're wanting to refund Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
even if you went past the 2 hour mark, then we'll totally refund it for you. That's not a problem. And then even with the whole like Tomb Raider stuff in the Pharma Simulator, people were kicking up like a huge stink. And it took them forever. And then they were eventually like, if you want to refund Tomb Raider and Farm Simulator, then we'll
Yeah.
facilitate that. Yeah, like I only bought Tomb Raider because it was literally like £8. Well, there's a game I can play in Stadia,
Yeah.
so why not? You know what I mean? Because the problem with Stadia now also is that there just isn't a lot of games on it.
Mhm.
I think even with the last couple that have came out this week, it only maybe brings their total to something like 30 games, and that's no lot of games. When you consider that's like the amount of games I think Xbox has on just their Game Pass, if not more. So, and then obviously XCloud, like people have just surmised this again and again, is that XCloud has over 50 games,
Yeah.
and they're all free at the moment. So that'll obviously be a paid service at one point, but like at the moment,
Oh no,
it's offering
they
something that
own the
Stadia
fucking
have,
license. Like they're not gonna
no way of
they're not gonna get
touching
that.
or even coming close to. I definitely think my improvements for the service would be something that people have bitched and moaned about, and I totally get that this sounds like I'm kind of like jumping on the bandwagon now, but like initially I was definitely like, if you have to buy your own games, that's totally fine, because like any online
Really?
service, including Steam, you have to pay full price for the games to get
I don't
access to them,
remember that.
and then even then you're only getting the privilege to
Oh,
download the
for
game
God's
to your
sake.
computer. You don't really own it. Steam could at any point be like, nah, fuck that, and yeah, yeah, like Steam, if they take the game, that's happened to me. I mean, they done way back. There was a huge dispute. I never mind the details, but like when they remade the Monkey Island games, there was a whole thing like with publishing that it got totally messed up. So the games I bought, like the Monkey Island remastered games, like they disappeared off Steam at one point. I just couldn't get access to them anymore.
Monthly. That's
Yeah, yeah, they
subscription.
took them away, and there was a couple of Star Wars games as well because of Disney disputes and stuff. Like Steam will just take
Ga-
stuff offline.
Stadia now or
Sometimes
something
they
you
get
could call it.
the ability for people to keep it on their storefront, but then sometimes like
Aye.
I just lost certain games I'll just never get back. So like that's the same thing. But then Stadia has
Just make
that
Game
problem now
Pass.
that it just doesn't
Make
have
Game
enough content.
Pass.
And
That is the
and
best
back to my
fucking
original
thing
point,
going on right now.
a
Game
minute
Pass
later,
is great.
they need a Game Pass. They need something that's like you pay,
Mhm.
like your pro subscription is £10 a month. Yeah, but then on top of that, if you want to pay £20 a month,
It
then you
makes
get
sense.
Pro plus you get access to like 20 games. Yeah, or Stadia like Pro XL, you know, like where you get your Pro, but you
Well, I
also
mean,
get like 20 odd a group
there
of
is
20 games
PlayStation
that you
Now,
get to
but
continuously
I can
play
argue that
for,
even though they
you know,
do
for the
have great
price,
games
the included
on
price.
that platform, it's not
Yeah,
like
for
Game
me,
Pass. Game Pass is constantly adding games, and
I have
they're
watched
always
so
usually
many
really
things. Like I listened to
big games.
GameScoop recently, including many other
Yeah.
podcasts, and people were like, "Game Pass is like a breath of fresh
How
air." They're like,
I
"Why
was
are people not
so
doing this on
excited. I was
every
so
console?"
stoked about
She's like,
that
"Yeah,
was a game I was
like Damon
extremely looking
Hatfield was
forward to,
like,
and I had actually
I
had
can see
no
a
idea it was
time like
coming
in
to Game
5 years
Pass,
we'll
and
be
then
looking back and thinking, why was Game Pass not like standard? Why was every company not doing that? It makes so much sense."
absolutely.
Mhm.
Imagine playing Outer Worlds on your phone.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
aye. It's a
and
smart
like
decision.
big third party stuff, like Outer Worlds came out like day and day on Game Pass, and we got to play it. Yeah, we got to play it day one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it happened.
And that's a game like Borderlands that if it lives on Stadia would be great because like Borderlands also, you know, that's a good chunky maybe 30 hours worth of content, including no all the DLC. If Outer Worlds was on there, then fuck man. I mean, you would, yeah, like how good. I mean like there's just so much that because they were talking about the whole thing of like was it port everything to Switch? It was like one of the initiatives where they wanted to try and get like everything to Switch, and then people also joked about Witcher coming to Switch, and then fucking hell, it happened. So, and then people were like, "It's not the best place." Like they said this on GameScoop also. They said like Witcher 3 is not, you know, it's
Oh my god.
the Witcher 3 and Switch is not the best place to play that game. However, it is the best place to play that game portably. And that's one thing that they are taking a helm of is like you
Oh,
can play most
that's the
things
dream. That
AAA
is the
games
dream.
on the Switch and take it with you anywhere you go, which is something that no anybody
It's so
else at the
true.
moment is solving. So if Stadia had stuff like
Oh
Cyberpunk
my god.
when it comes out day and day on Stadia,
Can I
and
also
you had
just
the ability to play that
can I
on your
also just
phone and
quickly
take it
point
with
out
you, can you
that
imagine the amount
The
of people who
Witcher
would
is
play
now on
playing
Game
Cyberpunk
Pass.
on their phone or their
The
tablet?
Witcher 3 is now on
Like
Game Pass.
that's like
Eh,
dream world gaming. That's like something that folk have thought about for years but has never been accomplished. I
uh,
mean, being able to sit in a cafe, open
yeah,
your
I was gonna
iPad
actually
and
download
lift the
that.
controller out
That
your
actually
bag
looked
and
really
play
good.
Cyberpunk anywhere. Like,
There's a
I
oh,
mean,
Halo Reach, man. Come on.
I can't
Me and
throw
my
enough
buddy
money at
James
the
were playing
screen.
that, and
Like,
it's
it's
so
just,
good.
I mean, there's just, yeah. I mean, it's just something that I think they're probably building towards because I
Aye.
think it would,
Well, that's why I got it, I think.
yeah. Yes, as well as oh shit, what was else that just came out recently that was really good as well? Oh, my friend Pedro. Yeah, and Halo Reach. Um,
Mhm.
Halo Reach came out in Game Pass as well. I was like, "Oh fuck." Mhm. I think the only thing that I really loved about that, especially, and I think that's why I got Game Pass, was the fact that I could play Gears 5 like the day of release. Like that, yeah. Yeah, like I couldn't believe I didn't actually pay like what I'm paying money, but I didn't pay like $60 for that game. Like I just clicked a button and downloaded it, and I was playing Gears 5. I was like, what's happening? What's going on? What is this magic? What's Phil Spencer conjured that I'm now playing? So yeah, like Stadia definitely has the ability to do that, but then the and you look, it's funny when you look back at the original announcement, where they announced it at a was it GDC or Gamescom? I think it was GDC, but they were standing in that background, or Phil was, and it had all these publishers and first and third party people that were at the back of them that were part of
Yeah.
Stadia, including people like EA and other companies. But then, like, we only have 30 games in it, and it's like, well, where are the rest? What is actually happening to all the other games and all the other companies you partnered with? Are they
Yeah.
like, have
It's
they pulled out at
literally
this
the
point?
biggest
Have
media
they
thing
disassociated themselves
ever.
with you guys at the last minute because things were fucking up? Like, what's going on? I mean, Rockstar
I'm not
was
surprised.
definitely a surprise, and I
I'm
was
not
like,
surprised.
well, I wonder. Well, I suppose if you wanted to make your game even bigger than it
I
already
can't
is,
wait
offer
to
it to
see
another
what's gonna
platform.
happen
But
with
then you're like, oh,
6.
there's no more
It's gonna be
platforms you can
ridiculous.
offer Grand Theft Auto 5 to. And you're like, oh, here's Stadia. Maybe we can do that. But then they've
Did you
just
add
put
extra zeros
Red
to
Dead
that
on it.
number,
But I
guy?
don't know if
What
that's like
the
a
frick?
testing ground where they're like, well, if Red Dead works in it, then we can port GTA as well. Because I think they would be, I think they would be silly no to put GTA on Stadia because that game in itself Yeah, I think it's still in the top 5 best-selling games every month of Xbox and PlayStation, and it was released in 2013.
It's the
Like,
game.
it's absolutely stupid that that
Yeah,
game is
no, absolutely.
still top in the charts. Oh, I'm
Even
trying not
people who
even
don't
thinking
play
about it at this
games
point
play
because the minute I think
GTA.
about it, the minute I get obsessed. And I remember when I run I know. Like I remember when I had an old gaming channel ages ago, and I done a whole video about like, oh my god, they
It's
just
good.
announced Grand Theft Auto 5, and it was in like 2012 or something like that, and I got hyped about it then.
Sit
But
down,
then, like,
kids.
yeah, it's like new Grand Theft Auto is such
Gather round.
a common thing. Like it's just such a like
That's easy.
people who didn't play video. It's like Mario. People who didn't play video games know what Grand Theft Auto is. I mean, so
Mm-hmm.
um, if they didn't bring that to Stadia, I think it would be
Yeah, in their world. It's arcadey.
yeah, like people I know who are like, oh, like you can race cars in it and shoot things. Oh, that's kind of cool. And then there's like the one thing I got excited about with the new Red Dead. I'm really getting into Red Dead Online, by the way, because Red Dead Online.
Aye.
Let me tell you about Red Dead Online. When you play GTA
Still not
5,
dialed in since then.
let me tell you a story. Um, when you back in the day when you when you play Grand Theft Auto 5, the game is like a million miles a second. It goes from 0 to 100 like in the first like 5 seconds you spawn into the world, because there's people like
Get
yeah, there's
paid
like
in
people
beans.
throwing like rocket launchers everywhere, or there's like
It's so
VTOL
different, yeah.
helicopters flying over you, and cars like zip. It's just chaos. Not to mention just the traffic and people that are there already. And then you throw on top of that like casino
Yeah.
nights and headquarters and death rays, and you're like, oh my god, what is going on? I get such a headache. Switch to Red Dead, right? You're playing that. I'm
Yeah.
sitting by the fire.
Oh
I'm
man, I
cooking a
haven't
wee bit of
experienced
meat.
that.
I
I
get
wish
up
I
for the
had.
fire and I walk to my horse, trot along to a wee shop or a wee village or a wee out of town place like Rhodes, and sharpen my tools, clean my guns, take a wee bounty, head out to the
Yeah.
country.
It's so beautiful.
Like
So pretty.
it's so yeah, it's like it's so slow paced that it's like it's relaxing. It's like you take a couple of
Mm.
people and you do a mission, you get to shoot a couple of folks, but it's no anything like where you're
The
getting
bounty hunter
cars thrown
missions
at you
are
left, right, and
great.
centre, and people
They're
firing
so
guns in the
great.
air. It's just people are so civilized, and occasionally you get an asshole and stuff like that that'll like just shoot at you for no reason. But most
Oh,
people in the
God.
towns, because like the mics are always on, just talk to you and like, oh hey man, what's happening? And oh, I'm just going to do a bounty, cool. And yeah, but it's like Red Dead Online on Stadia, especially now because there's not a lot of players in it. It's just so chill. Like it's just really
Oh
nice
my
to go out
god.
and do a
I need
mission
to
and
get back into
come
it.
back
Yeah.
and fix a wee bit. I mean, technically, it's ridiculous. And then it fix a wee bit of your
I'm still
camp, and
playing
then
the
upgrade a wee
I'm
bit,
still
and
playing the
then
epilogue of
get
that
a
game.
dog for your camp. So when you come back to your
I'm
camp every
still
time, there's a wee
enjoying the
dog running
epilogue of
about.
that game.
And
I
and
won't
that's
say
what I'm saying. Like
anything.
the one
I
thing
don't
I got
want to
excited
spoil
about
it.
was like a lot of the DLC that's now coming out for Red Dead is stuff that you can become a
Uh,
bounty hunter,
it's
or
the
you can
after
become
after the game. I like it.
there's so mate,
Oh, dude,
I
don't
had a
sorry.
fucking experience
Spoiler
the other
alert!
night when
Spoiler
I
alert!
got to Bounty Hunter rank 5.
Yeah,
I'm
no, it's
ranked like 8
to be
now,
fair,
but when
it's
I
been around a
got to
little bit
rank
for a few days
5 and I
now.
learned how to
They're
spin my
fucking
gun, I was
um,
losing my shit. I was like, oh, I can spin my
that
gun in my finger. This is so
does make
cool.
sense. Yeah, spoilers,
Um,
eaters.
and yeah, like there's a ton of stuff like that. But then the Moonshiner DLC now allows you to have a bar that you can run, S- so you can have a wee home away from your home that's not lying outside in the dirt all the time. Yeah,
It's an enjoyable
I've
grind as
completed that
well,
game
I
now.
think.
I've got to
It's
the end
not
of it.
too taxing, and you
I've
can
played it.
take
I've
a
completed
break,
it.
and
I've
when you
done
do
the
it, it's
ending.
like,
I know
"Oh,
what
this is
happens,
nice."
but oh, have you played all the Marston's missions? No. Okay. No. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
I know. Well, he was the protagonist in the first game, so he does live. Yeah. Spoiler. Um. But yeah, the whole Martian thing after it. But then yeah, like I just kind of done all that, and then I was like, right, time to go on online, and I think online's a wee bit better because
oh, aye,
the time and
the
effort you put into
hunter
that, you're
or
building
whatever
up
it
your own character. I know somebody
is.
else, like like Dutch or Arthur or Marston. It's like it's your own version of a cowboy.
And there's a cool outfit I think you unlock at 10.
Yes,
Uh-huh. That's the one
It's not even like I would say too grindy, like because I spent maybe a good solid like 2 or 3 nights. The first couple of nights I had the game playing with a wee posse of people that I kind of ganged up with, and I managed to get like
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
level 10 to level 25 in about 2 nights, and then on top of that, like I got to rank 6 or 7 in
I
the
need to
bounty hunter
start playing
stuff,
it
and
again
then
because I was
the
getting
collector
really
stuff. I
into
think
the
I'm not
online.
as
I was
far
playing it
on. I
every
think
night at
I'm like
one
level
point, and
5 in that
just
as
doing bounty
well,
hunter
and
missions
then
because they're great.
what's
They're
the other one
so
I've got
much
to
fun.
do? That's
And
not
it
the
was during that
collector
time where I don't know if
or
they're
the
still
bounty
doing it.
hunter,
Don't know if you can confirm that, but
the one where you
there's
have to skin
every
animals
like week
and
there'd be a new
sell
bounty.
pelts.
Do they
Hunter
still
thing,
do
yeah,
that?
basically, aye. So I'm about 5 or 6 in that as well, but I want to get to 10 in Bounty Hunter because then you get the bounty
Yeah.
wagon, the one where you can like throw them in the back.
There's 5 difficulty levels, is there not? Every
I've
time
got
you complete it,
unlocked
you go up a
one at the
level,
start
and
as
it gets
well, so
harder
I've
and
got that
harder.
one. That's the one I always wear. But I just wanted to wear something different because everyone was wearing like the same stuff, so I just wanted to have something that made me stand out. But then it's funny because
Oh, I
your
really
tokens
want
also
I
unlock
really want
like
to play that. You've got me in the mood of playing
variations of
it.
like guns and belt holsters. So like my whole bounty hunter motif at the moment is like black and gold. Like all
I know. I've already
my
got it
guns
on
and my
PlayStation.
outfits are all
I'm just
black with like
playing,
gold
but
trimming. So yeah, it was. Mm. Yeah, the legendary bounties. Yes, there's one every week, and then I think
I know.
at certain times you'll
Especially
get
with,
like double
I
XP
mean,
for
like it
bounties,
makes
and
sense
then
for someone who's able to
there's
get
different stuff that
great,
yeah,
if
there's
everything's
yeah,
going well straight
basically
away, and
yeah,
it's
five
always
stars is is the most,
you
and that's where you get the
rarely
most
get
money and stuff from.
disconnected or anything like that.
But now the moonshine stuff
But
just
for
came out,
me, it's
so
like
that's like a whole
it's
new
almost
thing as well.
not every time. Actually, that's the lie. It's not every time. There's been times where I would
Well,
just
the
be
only
sitting
thing with
playing
playing Red Dead
Tomb
again is
Raider,
that
and
you've got to buy it in
it's
Stadia
not
at full
done anything
whack,
bad.
and
It's
then
worked really well. So, but
I
there's still that
think
risk, and
at the
I
moment it's
can't justify
still
paying that money for that
I think
game
$50
yet. Not yet. Once
for
it's like,
it on
okay, I can
Stadia.
guarantee I'm going to get a stable connection no matter what,
Which I mean, it's
then
a difficult
yeah,
one because
I might buy it in Stadia
I can totally
because it makes more
recommend
sense
Red
for
Dead
me.
because I'm having such a good time with it, and like it is such a good game. Like I mean, we know, but then to buy it on Stadia at that price, it's like it's a lot of money. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, mm,
Hmm.
yeah, mm,
Hmm.
yeah, mm, yeah. I think definitely. The more you play it, I think every day I've seen the one thing I've definitely seen that's been very
Yeah.
positive is the fact that every day I would go on, or every couple of days I would go on and try something else. There's like a little improvement in every game. I definitely noticed since like the first day I played Red Dead on launch, and like playing it like last night, um, there's a noticeable difference, like in just quality and responsiveness and how the game looks and the vegetation, all that kind of stuff. Like because you're visiting it like every day and you're looking for this stuff, you will notice it really quickly. And definitely, I found that
Yeah.
every time I've went on, every other game I've
That
played
makes
looks
sense.
like
Yeah.
a wee bit better every night. So they're obviously at the back, like running about like headless chickens, trying to fix stuff, and we're just seeing it like every so often. But um, yeah, there's definitely like I'm trying to think of the word. There's definitely a feeling that they are taking the launch seriously. They are taking the whole ability and Stadia to run, and like they're definitely invested in the
Hmm.
tech and the vision of Stadia. So I think even if you bought Red Dead and you felt like in the end it wasn't
Yeah.
going to be worth it,
Before we
it's a hard
go,
one. It is really
I
hard. But
want to
then
bring up something.
I definitely think it's like with the way the servers are
So
set
something
up
that
and
I
the
feel
way the
like we need to talk
population's set at
about,
the
and that
moment,
is
it's probably the best place to play it
of games,
because
because there's
there's
been a
not a
whole
million
controversy
people
with
in it.
Darksiders
So
Genesis
there's
being
that
at
positive swing in
ten
it. And then I
pounds
think
or
obviously,
whatever, $10
especially
or
with PC, and
I
I've
don't
got
know.
a pretty
In the
banging
UK, it's
PC,
£10 more
and
than it is on
my
Steam.
rig
Or
runs. I mean, it only I say it struggles. It only
uh,
struggles because I'm running everything at 4K, which is obviously 4 times the amount of
Steam.
information. So if I wasn't running at
So
4K, it probably would
how do they
look a
justify
wee bit
that?
better and would run a lot more efficiently. But then, like Red Dead is such an involved and technically amazing piece of
Well,
gaming
I
that
can say Red
to
Dead
be able to
is
run it on something like a cloud
£55
service and not have to worry
even
about
with the
like
Pro.
your friends and
So
stuff
I don't know.
is a bit
I mean, Odyssey, Assassin's
relaxing.
Creed
So
Odyssey is
yeah,
£55.
yeah.
Come on, that's been around for a bit now.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was down to like £20 or something.
Yes,
Mm.
it's 34. It's 34.99 on
But
Stadia,
yeah,
and it's
Borderlands 3 is definitely a
26
good price.
something on
Back then.
Steam at the moment. Yes.
So
Yeah, because
bizarre.
I think there's some other games that are similar. I think was it Just Dance or another weird game like that
Yeah,
where it was more expensive on
enemy make money, I
Stadia.
suppose.
Well, to be fair with that as well, also when I bought it, um, was it Black Friday
Maybe
or just
send them
before
a
Black Friday?
message, be like,
It was like 20
price of
bucks and I got
Steam.
it. So, and then obviously just now, Borderlands and a couple other games are also on sale for Christmas. So, like I think Ghost Recon
Yeah.
the now is 30 bucks. Borderlands 3 is 30 bucks as well, which
It's
is
tough as
reasonable
well
for a
because
brand new
I'm
game.
busy a lot and you're busy a lot. So it's when we get finding
Darksiders
time as well.
Genesis is definitely one of the exceptions, and I don't understand why it is like that. Either the publishers, well, apparently the publisher sets the price, and then
It's got
Stadia have to
rave
get
reviews.
permission to have deals on them. So I don't know if they've been like because it's a new service and we're like giving you this exclusivity or this this extra thing. You have to give us more money, so maybe that's why they're charging extra. I definitely feel like they initially said that they would be competitive with their pricing. So if it's 26 on Steam, I don't think it should be 10.
You know,
Yeah, like
I'm
what
going to
is
point out as
happening?
well,
Because
I've
I
just
was
noticed
almost
on
tempted to
Ghost Recon
buy
Breakpoint, I know it
Darksiders.
just came out
I
for
didn't
Stadia.
want to because I knew
Keep
specifically
in mind this is an
there's not a lot
extremely
of people
bad
I know
reviewed
on the
game,
servers just
right?
yet, and like Jordan wasn't going to
So it's
buy it, so I was
£30
like, well,
for
there's not
Pro,
much
that's
point because a
fine.
lot of that is built
But
around.
I've just noticed the base price, the
Yeah,
RRP for
it's
it,
like
or whatever you want to say,
yeah.
is
I mean, it's great
60.
because if you get two players,
It's
you can sit down and do the whole
£60.
co-op thing. But like, if
I don't know how I
there's only
feel
one of
about
these,
that.
then it's like
Considering you can
there's
get
no
it
much point
brand
in buying it.
new
I'm wanting to play it at
anywhere
one
else
point
for
because
about 30 quid
it's made by
because
Nomad
it's
and the original team.
not
So
doing well.
like, I
So I
love
don't know how they're
Darksiders, so I really
justifying
want
those kind
to
of
visit that
prices
world
unless they
again. But
keep it that kind of
it's really hard to
half
justify that
price.
when
Unless they have
you
it
go
like
that
that
extra
at all
$10, and then on
times,
top of that,
which I
you're not going to
doubt.
buy it. So I'm like, well, there's no much incentive. I mean, like if Jordan bought Red Dead at this point in time, it's great because I've got it already, so you'd have something to play with. But at the same time, it's like $50, which is a lot of
Oh, it's
money for
80% off right
anybody.
now. Oh no, it's 60% off right now on Uplay, and Division 2 is 80% off on Uplay right now.
Mhm, 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 mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah, I did see that actually.
mhm.
Oh well. Oh well, then that's all right.
Yeah, I think it's
That'll
it's
be good.
difficult though because like
But will you need but will you need
how do you
Pro to
justify
access
it
that?
being like $60 when like you said you can go into like the
Oh,
Uplay
that's
store
good.
and I think get it on offer for yeah. Mhm. See, this is a whole thing as well of like the Uplay
Yeah.
stuff because they have said that when the Uplay Plus service launched, because it's already launched,
And
so I
hopefully
think you
by
can
that
pay
point we can
like
play it on most
$15 a month and
all
you can get
phones and
access
not
to all
just
these games.
Pixel.
Which is great because they've also said that that will also integrate with Stadia Pro, so or Stadia in general. So if you have yeah, because if you have if you get the Ubisoft Game Plus thing, and then you have a Stadia thing, then it means that all the Uplay games that are on Stadia will be playable through your subscription thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be interesting.
Who's got more
No,
phones?
you only need
iPhones
access to the service. You don't need the
Androids?
service
Who's
thing. The Pro gets you the 4K 60 FPS and everything, but the base just games. If you get a Uplay Plus thing, will be integrated into Stadia. So
yeah.
essentially, that'll be good because for a lot of people
The
who
thing
will
is,
have that
Huawei
service
and
already,
Samsung
and
are both
Stadia's
Android,
free,
so you would
as
really
long as you
just need
sign
to
up for
make
it and
it
everything, like
accessible
yeah,
for
you'll be able to
Android,
play those
surely.
games anywhere. So
Yeah. Well, 9 pixels. It's because I suppose they know the
well,
capabilities
yeah,
of
they've
those
said that
phones, so
the Google Chrome support for like
aye,
the
that'll be
Chrome
good.
browser stuff, like the 4K version of that is coming in
That'll be
2020.
good.
I don't know when in
Definitely.
2020, but they've also said the iPhone stuff and like other mobile devices will also be coming in 2020 because they're going to also want to appeal to the biggest and most mass origin or the biggest audience they can.
Mhm.
So yeah, that'll be the case.
Huge potential. Huge potential.
I'm sure the last time I looked at it, Apple was losing its market share, and I think the split was like it was Samsung, Apple, and Huawei. They were the three like major. Yeah, so well, it is because the Google Pixel runs on Android, so it is Android compatible at the moment, but only on those Google Pixel phones. I'm just waiting for it to come to tablet because I have an iPad Pro, which is like a 12-inch screen. So if I can take that in my controller anywhere, then fuck, I'm done. I mean, so I mean, there's definitely. I think the takeaway for the day is that there's Stadia is and the technology and the general app is great. We enjoy it. We think it's great and a great technology and a great idea. And we think it's
There's still
got
more layers to that
a promising
lasagna.
future ahead of
You
it.
still need to get some more
Yeah.
cheese
At the
on that. Yep,
moment, there is a
absolutely.
lot of
Some
things
bacon
that
cheese
stick
if you're
out
talking
that
to
really
us.
need to be fixed before it becomes, I would say, a viable service. A lot of services and features that a lot of these guys like PlayStation and Xbox already have that they're missing. Stuff like achievements and Google Assistant and friends lists and all that kind of stuff and voice and chat. Like everything needs to just be a bit more
Definitely.
100% before it's considered like a full-fledged app that will work and run in any situation.
That's the thing I'm most excited
But
about.
yeah, I
That's
think
the
if
thing
you're
I think
definitely
is going
curious
to
about the
test its
technology,
limits is
it's an
Cyberpunk
interesting
2077,
investment.
and
I think
that's when
you'll
we'll
not really
really go.
regret it. And also,
Can it
like I
run
says,
it?
the
Yeah.
potential in the future for the service is
Can
going
it
to be good
run
as well.
Cyberpunk?
So yeah, I think in general, just a really good service, but definitely needs
That's going to be
a
so
bit
good.
more love and TLC.
Especially because most. Oh, continue.
Yeah,
We're away.
some cheese on top. Yeah, a couple of cheese.
The curtain's closing.
Yeah, some vegan cheese. So yeah, man. Yeah, no, there's a lot to iron out, but I think it's definitely a bright future ahead of it.
Live long and
It's not
prosper.
something I'm going to look at it and
Oh, wait.
say like in 3 months this is going to be dead. It's going to be nobody's going to be using it. No, this has definitely got a future. I can see even in the next year, this is going to be something that people will, like, have you seen this thing on YouTube? You can launch for free and it runs Cyberpunk at 4K. Like,
And then it's my birthday.
oh yeah. Cyberpunk will become the new Crisis. It will be the game that benchmarks systems. Yeah. So, I know. So yeah, like when you can just like open a browser and be like, oh hey, you seen Cyberpunk? You want to play it? Like, yeah, that's going to be interesting. So yeah,
Bye.
yeah, continue. No, yeah, we're heading out. We're moving out because yeah, yeah. Me and George are going to see Star Wars tonight. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting evening. So we're going to have to head off and get ready. But yeah, indeed. Okay, yeah. Anyway, okay, thanks guys for listening. We'll try and get some more episodes before Christmas. If we don't get one out, let me just say on behalf of me and Jordan, for everybody to have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year when it comes. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Leave your comments. I know, and it's your birthday. Leave your comments and suggestions down below. If there's anything we can do to change or make the show better, or any questions you have for us, leave them and we'll get back to us. This service is available on YouTube, Spotify, many other podcast services around the world. If you want to listen to us, leave some reviews and some feedback, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Later, my dudes.